Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of Grand Rising Yoga. This class you can expect to be gentle, restorative, at your own pace, very chill, and meant for you when you first rise in the morning. So finding your space that you practice in, we'll begin in child's pose. I'm going to take the bolster and place it underneath my belly as I open up my knees out to the side and melt my upper body down. Release to your left or right ear as you soften your eyes to close and allow your arms to release out in front of you. I want to take a moment and officially welcome you to 2024. I hope that this year is your best yet and you achieve what is meant for you and beyond. Let's take a few more breaths here, in and out through your nose. Noticing how that breath moves through the backside of your body. And as you breathe in, reach your arms out in front of you and begin to walk them over to the left side. You can release your chin to center or the opposite direction, feeling this side body stretch. And when and if you're ready to come out, we'll begin to find this on the other side. So inhale, walking your hands back to center as you exhale, traverse to the other side. And breathing in, walking the hands back to center. We begin to release to the opposite ear, settling into child's pose. A few more breaths at your own pace, in and out through the nose. And being gentle with yourself, begin to release your chin to center as you walk your hands back towards your hips and removing anything that might be there, the pillow, bolster. And we'll make our way into tabletop, all fours, hands and knees. Gazing towards your thumbs or off the tip of your nose, we'll begin to find cat-cow. So as you breathe in, drop your belly, tilt your gaze up. And as you exhale, round through your spine, looking towards your navel. And begin that breath again. Inhale, fill completely up. And exhale, press the earth away. Find this at the measure of your own breath, in and out through your nose. Every time you breathe in, the gaze tilts up, the belly drops. And exhale, pressing away. You can even press into the tops of your feet and the shins to arch the spine a bit taller. Listen to your body and where it wants to go. You can continue with this cat-cow movement, or you can begin to release the hips, sway them left and right. I'm walking out my hands up onto my fingertips and finding some motion clockwise and counterclockwise. It's all an open dance. What feels good in your body might not feel good in yours, especially this early in the morning. So take your time, use your breath, allow it to be your guide, and find your movement. I find in my own personal practice this cat-cow to be very beneficial, especially in the morning, but you can practice it whenever. You're igniting your breath, you're warming up the spine, moving it in different directions. You can sink back to child's pose. The possibilities, options are endless. Let me know in the comments if anything felt particularly good for you exploring cat-cow. And we're going to get into our wrists a little bit here. So I'm going to twist my left wrist behind me so my fingers are facing my knee. And I'm gently, very gently going to sweep my hips back, and you're going to find quite the sensation here. Now you don't have to go far at all. Allow yourself to breathe and gently come back up to that tabletop and release your wrist so your fingers are facing forward. And we'll try it on the other side. The reason why I say breathe is because sometimes we come into these spaces for the first time, or we've never stretched out these areas, and we kind of psych ourselves out and hold on to our breath. So notice that, not just on the mat, but off the mat as well. And we're going to add on to this. So we're going to release our fingers back and front, but roll on top of our hands so our palm faces us. Again, not a common posture that we get into every day. It's going to feel foreign. It's going to be weird. Just breathe. You're okay. And gently roll out your wrist when you're done. And go ahead and roll onto the left hand so the palm faces you. And maybe you drift forward and backward here. Breathe. And when and if you've had enough of that, you're going to ball up your hand and roll out your wrist, releasing the work you've just done. And coming back to tabletop, you're going to sweep your right leg out to the side of you so your foot plants, and begin to walk your hands back until you lift up the upper body. I'm going to go ahead and grab a block for myself, and as I breathe in, I'm going to sweep my arms up overhead. Gaze follows. Inhale, fill, and exhale, slide your right hand down your leg, tilting up and over. Either looking at the eye of your elbow or down off the opposite shoulder. And as you breathe in, draw those arms back overhead. And exhale, release the left hand down to the block. Some of you might choose the ground, the earth. And sweeping the right arm overhead. Feeling long from the pinky finger down through the pinky toe. Breathe. And as you exhale, release your right hand underneath your shoulder, followed by your left. And sink the hips back and forward. And eventually you'll release back towards your heel. And you can stay propped up on your hands or release to your forearms. You could also use a block or bolster here. I'm feeling this stretch through our inner thigh. As you breathe in, prop yourself back onto your hands, return to tabletop, take a cat-cow, belly drops, exhale, round the spine. And we'll try this on the other side, so sweeping your left leg out, walking yourself until you come up to standing and sweeping the arms overhead as you breathe in. Inhale, reach. And exhale, slide the arm down your leg as you tilt up and over. Where's your gaze? Where do you want it to be? The eye of the elbow or down off your shoulder, opposite shoulder. As you take your breath in, sweep the arms up overhead and release your hand down to the block or earth, reaching up and over with the left hand. Tilting your chin towards your chest, keeping a neutral neck, feeling this extension. Take a breath in and out. Inhale and exhale, release your right hand to plant, followed by the left. And again, sinking the hips back behind you. Noticing where you want to be. Maybe it looks different than what you did on the other side. Listening to your body always. Can you find an edge? Is that edge too much? Do you need to come up out of it? Don't forget to breathe. And stay here for 3 to 4 breaths. Applying pressure in the pinky toe of the extended foot. And eventually returning back to tabletop. Finding a cat-cow as your belly drops. And you round through your spine as you exhale. We'll begin to open our hearts. And why not? It is a new year after all. So we'll start in hero's pose, sinking the hips towards the heels, releasing our hands on our thighs. And taking 5 to 7 breaths here. Allow the eyes to close. You'll go ahead and begin to roll on your knees as you lift your hips, and I would highly suggest a prop, a block. I'm using a yoga wheel, as heart openers and back bends are really intense. So you're going to release your hands to your back pockets, fingers down, and you're going to press your hips forward. And as you breathe in, you're lifting up your heart and your chest, and only if you want does your head revolve back behind you. Now we're going to be here for about 3 to 5 breaths. So I'm going to release my hand down to the wheel and keep pressing my hips forward as I lift my heart up towards skyward and my chest. My head is revolved back behind me. So I have 3 chakras open: my throat, my heart, and my sacral. My throat is where I express my truth. My heart is where I open up, give, and receive. And my sacral chakra, where I feel safety and security. Keep breathing, keep breathing. And we're going to be so gentle with ourselves, tilting our chin back towards our chest, releasing our hands to our low back as we sink back to hero's pose. Now we're going to find a really nice counter pose for that work we've just done called rabbit. So what you're going to do is take your right or left palm and place your thumb right in between your third eye, your eyebrow space, and extend the pointer finger as far as it's going to go, and that's the crown of your head. So once we hinge forward, we're going to release onto the crown of our head and begin to lift our hips away from the earth. And our hands may or may not touch our ankles. Breathing in and out through the nose here. And eventually I'm going to sink back into child's pose. Your knees can be together, they can open. You can find that pillow or bolster. And I'm going to be here for quite some time, releasing out the work we've just done. Perhaps you give yourself an eyebrow massage by drifting side to side. That feels good. Letting the heart sink, the hips release. Go ahead and begin to bring yourself back up to tabletop, taking a cat-cow. And returning back to neutral, step your right foot outside of your right hand. We're going to begin to explore a lizard modification, low lunge, by shifting forward and backward. Again, with cat-cow, I gave you freedom to explore and play. You can do the same here in this lizard pose. You can release down to the forearms or to the block. And just noticing where your body is today, not where it was last year or where you think it might be at in the coming months. There's that sweet spot in the middle called now, the present, the reality. I'm tucking my left toes and lifting my leg and finding that same motion gliding forward and backward. Again, your practice, play with it. You can begin to sink the hips and round the spine, finding that same cat-cow motion, but just in this lizard variation. Go ahead and begin to extend your right leg as you sink your hips back for half-seated split. Now your foot can be planted to the earth, or you can draw those toes up towards your shin. You can walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Allow this to be your own. Feel what's happening within the body, allowing the breath to guide you. Begin to tuck the left toes underneath, lifting up the leg and walking your hands to the middle so your upper body hangs heavy. And begin to find some motion or stay as you are. Allowing that upper body to release, letting go of tension. And we'll find that lizard variation on the other side, but this time you're going to walk your hands to the back of the mat. Soften the knee down and walk the hands inside of the foot. And finding where you want to be. Play, explore, and breathe. Maybe you try something different and you want to press your left hand into your knees so you roll onto the edge of your foot and allow the hips to sink. Slowly coming out of that, you could also find a bind by drawing your right heel towards your glute as the left arm sweeps behind you. Now, this is where a lot of people force the bind, wanting to get the pinky toe or ankle. If it's not there, no biggie, it's okay. You do have a strap or a towel or something that could help get you in that space a bit more. But just releasing into whatever feels best for you. And reminding yourself that we are in this slow season called winter, where it's meant for us to rest a bit more, sleep longer hours, hibernate, just like nature. We're all very cyclical beings, so notice what's being asked of you and honor that. When you're ready, go ahead and find that half-seated split by sinking the hips behind you and extending the leg out in front. This time I used the block and placed it underneath my left glute. Notice I say towards. There's no goal of where you need to be. This is a practice after all. Take some breaths. Begin to lift away from your heel, tucking the right toes underneath and extending the leg. And find yourself back to wide leg forward fold, hanging out here for a few beats. Grabbing opposite elbows, twisting side to side. Wrapping the hands around the ankles or the shins and gently releasing the head. Yes, no, maybe so, around the world. And walk your hands out in front of you and breathe in halfway as you begin to traverse to the true front of the room, making your way to tabletop. And inhale, drop the belly, tilt the gaze up. And exhale, press the earth away and begin to sink those hips back towards your heels. And we started with child's pose, and we'll end with child's pose. So releasing that upper body down to the earth, hanging heavy, softening the eyes, allowing them to close, coming back to breath. Allow yourself to just melt and be. If you like this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. And it's been my pleasure and honor guiding you through this 20-minute Grand Rising Yoga flow. Until next time, namaste.